take your political theater to Texas.
This is not about political theater.
And it was more political theater than anything.
It's nothing more than pure political theater.
It's pure political theater.
Okay. Welcome, everyone. Political Theater with Dr. Taylor. Listen, the way things are going right now, yes, I have a schedule, but also we need to jump on because what the hell? Okay. Listen, I just want to say that this is some bullshit, Aldo. If you don't get that reference, then I'm not going to help you here. There's some bullshit, Aldo. See, Martin Lawrence fans get that. Thank you for saying that I look beautiful. I actually don't give a shit how I look right now because I'm so frustrated. Yeah, not negating your compliment. Thank you. I appreciate it. I had to go outside. So when I go outside, I wear makeup. But listen, we need to talk about how this nation is essentially saying, fuck the First Amendment. Now I'm going to pull up the First Amendment because I feel like sometimes we need to like read it, right? Okay, let's make sure that we understand what it says. I'm actually going to read it in cursive because I can actually still read cursive because I was born in the 1970s. The First Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America. I have to say this out fully because you all know what I'm talking about. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or of the right of the people to peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Okay, just want you all to know there are 4 things here that are super important. 5 if you want to get, technical. 1, Congress shall make no laws respecting the establishment of a religion, right? So the government has nothing to do with this. You cannot make a law either way saying that, 1, this is a Christian nation and we're going to make it a Christian nation. So you can't pass laws establishing, religion, right? Cool. We already know Christianity exists. That's the loophole that they find. We're not establishing a religion, whatever. But this was written because them niggas was anti-Christianity. I already pointed out to you all, if you follow me on social media, I pointed out to you the quotations from those folks, the founding fathers, the enslavers that they were, that these were deists. And at the time, they called themselves deists because atheists probably didn't exist or it wasn't cool enough, okay? They were against this. Benjamin Franklin said it's stupid, okay? Matter of fact, let's pull that up. Let's pull these up because I feel like we need to revisit this, right? Because I'm talking about the First Amendment. This is important. This has always been important to me because, again, many of you know that I am a free speech hardliner, which is why, you'll hear me when I talk about Charlie Kirk. I'll say that I hate the things that he stood for and what he was, about. But he has the right to say those things and believe those things as long as they're not leading to people being harmed, right? That's the caveat for the First Amendment. People have been harmed, namely him, right? Okay, so we all saw it. They're going to kill me. And I'm fine with it. Like, I've come to accept that they're going to take me out. So I might as well go out swinging. Might as well go out swinging. But anyway, let's read what the founding fathers said. Hold on, because this is important. Thomas Paine, who arguably was the most against all of that bullshit, of all the systems of religion that ever were invented, ever, okay, your man is calling back tens of thousands of years, okay, of all the systems of religion that ever were invented, there is no more derogatory to the Almighty, right? So this is like an agnostic kind of deist thing, more unedifying to man. They don't do nothing for you, right? More repugnant to reason, makes you stupid, and more contradictory to itself than this thing called Christianity. Ho, 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 ho! Too absurd for belief, too impossible to convince, and too inconsistent for practice, it renders the heart torpid or produces only atheists or fanatics. So they did have atheists. All right, well, the word was there. Or fanatics. As an engine of power, it serves the purpose of despotism. You guys have heard me been using the word despot lately, because I think we need to bring that word back into our lexicon. We keep talking about fascists. We keep talking about dictators. Let's bring despot back. And as a means of wealth, the avarice of priests. Ooh, avarice is a great word. But so far as respects the good of man in general, it leads to nothing here or hereafter. Your man said that. Your man said that. Okay, that's what he said. Okay, but he wasn't the only one. Religion, I found to be without any tendency to inspire, promote, or confirm morality, serves principally to divide us and make us unfriendly to one another. Who said that? The one and only Benjamin Franklin. I went to that alma mater. That's my alma mater, University of Pennsylvania. Quakers. Got a bench sitting right there with Ben Franklin sitting there with his arm up looking for a church hug. Looking for a church hug. That's Ben Franklin. Ben Franklin with the kite. And the eye and the glasses. God, y'all stupid. The voice of the people has been said to be the voice of God. And however generally this maxim has been quoted and believed, it is not true to fact. The people are turbulent and changing. They seldom judge or determine right. That was Alexander Hamilton, the one your guys' fave, Lin-Manuel, the Promesa guy who hates Puerto Ricans. He's a white Puerto Rican. He brought and sanitized Hamilton and all those enslavers and got you to like them. They be having niggas playing enslavers. And if you don't see a white Latino having black people playing enslavers as the biggest fucking FU to niggas that he can't stand, I don't know what to tell you. And you all spent hundreds of dollars on tickets to see that bullshit ass show. But that's okay. I'm gonna let you rock. That was Alexander Hamilton. Oh, here comes our favorite rapist. And the day will come when the mythical generation of Jesus, again, the day will come when the mythical generation of Jesus, not generation like Gen X or millennial, but generation as in the creation of Jesus. Well, mystical, not mythical, the mystical, right? By the supreme being as his father in the womb of a virgin, will be classed with the fable of the generation of Minerva in the brain of Jupiter. He's calling y'all dumb as shit for believing some nonsense. He's basically saying you got to be stupid if you believe that some Messiah was born to a virgin. But what we may hope for the dawn of reason and freedom, right? So they often compared, well, they equated freedom with reason and enlightenment. Remember, this is the time of enlightenment. They thought they were too smart for religion. He said, but we may hope that the dawn of reason and freedom of thought in these United States will do away all this artificial scaffolding. The reason I have to bring this all to you is because I actually read when y'all don't. And you need to understand that every single time one of these people goes on television and says some stupid shit that the United States is a Christian country, that it was founded on Christian principles, you must know that the founding fathers were against that. Not just against, religion, what the Christianity, whatever. They said specifically Christianity. We are not basing this country on Christianity. It's stupid, is what they're saying. But the Thomas Jefferson, that's our favorite rapist. Thomas Jefferson is the one who said, but we may hope for the dawn of reason and freedom of thought in these United States will do away with this artificial scaffolding. He's saying that we're building this nation and we do not need to hold it up with this mystical Christianity thing. That's what he's saying. Again, Ben Franklin says, I have found Christian dogma unintelligible. Early in life, I absenteed myself from Christian assemblies. I didn't want to be around them because it's not smart enough. Okay? Oh, jeez. James Madison, an alliance or coalition between government and religion cannot be too carefully guarded against. Religion and government will exist in greater purity without rather than with the aid of the government. Keep it separate. That's where the separation of church and state. And Thomas Jefferson comes again to bring us on home and says, what class? Christianity is the most perverted system ever shown on man. I didn't say it. I'm just using my advanced literacy to read the words as they were written by these founding fathers. And so, when we get to this First Amendment, this very first part, because remember I said there's 4, maybe 5 parts, we're only in the first part. Congress shall make no law. Nothing. I'm not saying respecting, and some people, because haven't been taught that words have multiple meaning, people think respect as in I respect your religion. No. There's respecting means regarding. Okay, they shall make no laws regarding the establishment of that religion. Somebody on Instagram, if you're having issues on Instagram, please just come right on over to YouTube. If you go to my page, you will see that I'm live. Click the live tab. You will see that I'm live. It should come up that I'm live. Come join us over here. We got a bunch of folks over here. Okay. It says, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. And free exercise thereof means any religious belief, any practice, anything that you have, you should be able to do it unencumbered. I always compare this to the abortion debate, right? And the birth control debate. This idea of prohibiting the free exercise of, right? And that is directly connected to the 14th Amendment, which is about the right to privacy, right? Which is what Roe v. Wade was about, that the government cannot tell people in their private consultation with their doctors what they're allowed to do. A lot of people, it was about abortion and the lying lady that, Roe v. Wade, all of that shit, it was a bunch of liars and bullshit, as it always is when the conservatives want to come to. And please understand that Roe v. Wade was only an issue because they lost the segregation battle and they lost the whole we can outwardly discriminate against Black people thing. Okay, I hope everybody understands that. I know you probably weren't taught that, but let me just give you a quick lesson. The Southern strategy included, damn, we lost the segregation thing. Now we got to be around them. We are losing the base because it's not safe or manageable, sustainable for the base to continue to support us if we keep going on the segregation thing. We have lost this battle. The National Association for the Advancement of Colored People has mollywopped us. We have to let that go. We need something else. And now we have to focus on abortion. Abortion, which was well accepted and well liked. Most people were fine with it. And there were no regulations around it. There were some places where it was restricted, but most Americans were perfectly fine or not even thinking about it, right? And it didn't really come back into the consciousness until we got that Catholic president that they pop to the head, right? But anyway, they knew they needed something to rally their base, and they started talking bullshit about abortion with nobody was ever thinking about that. Okay, I just want to make sure you all understand that. And so with the abortion thing, They began fighting and stuff over that. That has been their fight for the last 50 years. Okay, we're talking 1973, 2023. When was over whatever fuck whatever? What was the one? What was the one that just they got rid of the Roe v. Wade? That was 2022, 2023. Which one was it? 50 years later, they've been fighting for 2.5 generations. That's been their fight. That's how they've rallied their base. And now that that's gone, now they have to move on to something else. So now it's all about wokeness, right? DEI. They needed something. Again, the Southern strategy is always to find the most controversial thing, the one thing that their base is not thinking about enough, the one thing that they know that their base is not smart enough to think much about, and make it into a thing that they can rile them up and to keep the money going. There's your short lesson on how the Southern strategy continues to erode the United States, because these are the people who wanted to secede from the nation, and these are the ones who still believe that the South will rise again. Okay, Finn, back to the First Amendment. You can't do laws that are about establishing a religion or promoting this or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. That also includes people who do not want to practice religion. So therefore, people like Greg Abbott, who I don't believe at all believes any of this Christian nonsense. He just knows it works, and he has to lean into it because he is disabled, and he knows that people in the United States are ableist, and he needs something to act as a buffer. Okay, where's my hat? Because, okay, we'll put that on. My tinfoil hat, put it, make it like a French beret. So French people are once again rioting because somebody got 3 less French fries in their meal, and so the French are taking it to the streets like they always do. All right, so, or abridging the freedom of speech. And I just want you all to think for like 2 seconds. I am totally in professor mode right now. I need you to rock with me on this. Why wasn't free speech first? Because it wasn't that big a deal. Here we go, hold on. Correct. Obama could have done this. He promised. Obama ran for the first time promising that he would codify Roe v. Wade and make sure that abortion would stand indefinitely. And then he came back and told us all it wasn't that important. So, that's one of the things that we just add to the FUCK Obama, get out my face and stop talking list that we have. Please go watch my Cult of Obama video that I have. I break down all the reasons why I can't stand that. But anyway, prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press. Right now, when they talk about constitutional crisis, we are talking about the crisis of the limitation of the freedom of speech. Understand that right now I am talking to you all, and this is incredibly dangerous. And this is why I appreciate you all rocking with me on this. Understand that what I am doing right now is radical. I am a Black, queer, disabled woman. I'm in my house. I rushed home because I could not be outside anymore because that's part of my disability. Also, I'm back, whatever. This is how I talk to y'all, right? This is how I engage. This is how I have some community. This is dangerous. I have been monitored, okay, for years and years and years. Don't forget, I organized one of the largest demonstrations against police brutality in the history of the United States. I saw the documents. They had my name. The Department of Homeland Security was tracking me. They don't let up on things like this. They know everything that I do. And so I come on here and I make a joke about the throat piercing. They're following me. 2 to the head out of nowhere, and I'm done. That's how the government works, right? This is no conspiracy theory. I don't need my tinfoil hat. I have studied enough. I see what they do. 90 bullets pumped into Fred Hampton's apartment, okay? Assata Shakur, if you connect with me on Facebook on my personal account, if you happen to know me, you see that I have the picture of Assata Shakur after they pumped all them bullets into her, okay? I'm just saying. Freedom of speech. Again, like I said, I am a free speech hardliner. I absolutely believe people have the right to say what they want. And there are consequences that come with it, but those consequences should not come from the government unless they have directly endangered someone. And that's where it gets tricky in this era of social media, right? That's what they are arguing with Trump. It's like, well, he said these things. It doesn't mean that he's responsible for the fact that the people showed up to riot, right? That's the argument, right? So it's tricky. It's a fine line. But the fine line, where they fall in their decisions, Depends on, okay? That's how it goes, right? Yes, I do look good. Thank you. I also don't give a shit. Appreciate you though. So what is happening to free speech right now? Okay, let me give you some examples of what is happening in free speech right now. Iowa school board to vote whether to fire a teacher who posted after Charlie Kirk's death. I'll put this in the chat for y'all so y'all can have a link yourself. Go read that. Okay. An Iowa school district superintendent is seeking school board approval to terminate the employment of a teacher accused of making a controversial social media post about conservative activist Charlie Kirk, who was fatally shot during a Utah event. Friends, I have to remind you all that Charlie Kirk is just like me. He's a YouTuber and a public speaker, except he dropped out of community college. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 degrees. That's the difference. He's a white man. I'm a black woman. Charlie's smart, though. I'm smarter. I say this to say that I am on the same level as Charlie Kirk in terms of what accolades or, kind of pomp and circumstance I would deserve in the cases of somebody executing me, right? Or assassinating me, whatever you want to say. They would never in all of their lives have that kind of treatment for someone like me, even if I spoke just like him, even if I was worse than, Candace Owens, who was his bestie. If Candace Owens, I'll just take it away from me. If Candace Owens were to get executed tomorrow, somebody were to come and pop to the neck, they would not do all of this for her. Okay. Charlie Kirk represents the preservation of white male supremacy, right? Because he doesn't believe that women should go to college to learn. He believes they should go to college to go find a husband. Because he says, he said, you don't really want to be there. That's why you're going anyway, to find a husband. So focus on that. That's what Charlie Kirk said. Charlie Kirk also said that if his daughter was 10 years old and was raped and, got pregnant, that he would make her have the baby. Okay, that's who Charlie Kirk is, right? I wouldn't say nothing like that. That's actually repugnant. I speak the truth. But if someone were to execute me because of what I say, there's no way that anybody would get fired for making a joke about it. You understand? And that's because we all understand that this is a distraction, because we know we talked about this already, so I don't have to go over that. But the teacher, their Facebook account has been since deleted. It said one Nazi down in connection with Kirk's death. Is he not a Nazi? Does he not espouse Nazi rhetoric? So to me, it's the person speaking facts, right? They're factually saying that a Nazi is down. Okay. What's the problem with that? But now they're saying, you can't say anything unless you're saying that I want to fillet him. Okay. And that's not cool. That's not cool. Okay. So they said they're holding a special meeting. Okay. So it's the Oskaloosa School Board, and they're having a meeting on Wednesday to consider the Superintendent Mike Fisher's recommendation to terminate the teacher's continuing contract effective that day. Where's the teachers union? Our team has been working on this throughout the evening and taking steps consistent with the district policy. We recognize our community's concern, and we have an investigation in progress. We will help you keep informed. You know where that can never happen? New York City and Philadelphia got two of the strongest teachers unions in the country. Where's the AFT? Because it should not be happening. No teacher should be fired for posting something like that. That's why you have unions. Thank you, Obama, for weakening our unions. We appreciate you so much for that. Add that to the list of reasons why I can't stand you. But thank you, because now it's harder for people to get the union representation they need unless you're a cop, because then, you get to do everything. So that's Iowa. Let's keep moving across the country. Texas teachers to be investigated for reprehensible Charlie Kirk shooting reactions. Okay. The TEA is investigating Texas educators for inappropriate social media posts about the murder of Charlie Kirk. These posts will be reviewed to see if they violate the educator's code of ethics. The TEA, by the way, is the Texas Education Agency. This is coming from Fox 4 News. Okay. So let's see. Dear Superintendent, TEA has been made aware of some Texas public school educators that have posted and or shared reprehensible and inappropriate content on social media related to the assassination of Charlie Kirk. These educators' comments do not reflect the vast majority of Texas teachers who are dedicated practitioners that work diligently to serve the more than 5.5 million impressionable young minds in our classroom. In responses to such posts, I'm referring all documentation of educators that have proliferated such vile content to TEA's Educator Investigations Division. The letter goes on. That's Texas. Now, we knew Texas was going to be on some bullshit because Texas is always on some bullshit. Okay, I just, a reminder, I trash Texas. I know Black people live there. Y'all are like a big chunk of the population. I know that 1/3 of Black people live in Texas, Georgia, and Florida alone, right? I know. My brother lives in Houston. I get it. But if you can get the hell out of Texas, if you have the means to do so, if you and your family can get the hell up out of Texas, please go. If you just got to go south and cross that border, please get the hell up out of Texas. There ain't no safety. But let's go to Oklahoma. Let's go up one time to Oklahoma. So, Oklahoma School Department investigates a teacher after disgraceful rhetoric on Charlie Kirk's death posted online. Superintendent Ryan Walters wrote that this rhetoric will not be tolerated in Oklahoma classrooms. Now, mind you, this person was posted on social media, so I don't know. They're posting online. So what are you talking about, the classrooms? Are y'all teaching online? I heard a lot of y'all schools work because you don't have enough damn teachers, so you got to teach online. Nobody don't want to teach there. But anyway, let's see. People on both sides. Shut up. A teacher at Clyde Boyle Middle School in Sand Springs is now under investigation for what he posted. He posted, Charlie Kirk died the same way he lived, bringing out the worst in people. How is that disgraceful rhetoric? It's the truth. Charlie Kirk died the same way he lived. He brought out the worst in people. He inspired this. They're going to kill me. It's okay. Let me get fired. It's okay. It's all right. Because I can always, find other ways to make money. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Yeah. Okay, that's Oklahoma. I'm not done. Iowa. Mahaska County. Now, that's the same art teacher from Oskaloosa. But Matt Craigle is now on paid leave for a comment he posted. Okay, well, all right, we in Greenville. We're over to Greenville. Greenfield County School District teacher is no longer employed with the district after posting on social media on September 10th about the death of the conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Let's see. Wynn Boliak, a teacher, was placed on administrative leave pending investigation. He teaches world history and government economics. Of course, he's going to talk about this stuff. This is crazy. What did he write? The screenshot said, thoughts and prayers to his children, but in my humble opinion, America became greater today. There, I said it. Shout out to him. He wasn't wrong. Again, he's not even talking about Charlie Kirk. He didn't mention him. He didn't put his name. He just said that America became greater today. For all we know, he could have been talking about Jenny's ice cream rolling out a new flavor. They don't know. But they fired him because he had no union representation. And this is also why they have dismantled unions and weakened them in the way that they are, because they protect workers. I believe that the pigs deserve to have their representation and their protection as well. Okay, everybody deserves a fighting chance, right? Because if one person who is innocent is convicted of something that they did not do, then the whole system is corrupt, right? So yeah, I can't stand the police, but they have the right to have their union reps represent them when they're accused of doing things, right? I believe that across the board. See, here's the thing, a lot of you remember when Laura Loomer was talking about Charlie Kirk flip-flopping on his politics until his death. A lot of you were like that, right? You kind of pick and choose what you believe in and what you think about based on the day, right? Or based on the topic. You hate the prison systems until it's somebody you don't like. You hate the prison system until it's time to make a joke about throwing somebody under the jail. You hate the prison system and you hate the corruption until you're talking about somebody says, I don't like red Skittles, and you respond with electric chair. We are an incarceration nation and you all love it. And don't deny you do, right? As it takes a lot of work to be consistent. It takes a lot of work to stand for what you believe in or to hold fast to your beliefs, right? Charlie did that, but he started to change a little bit at the end. But let's go back to the First Amendment, because this is the point here. Donald Trump, ever since he even started, before he started that first presidential run, Donald Trump has always been against the media, because Donald Trump is from New York City, where the New York City newspapers ridiculed him at least once or twice a week, because he was always doing really dumb things, right? So they would make fun of him. The cartoons about Donald Trump were always, I mean, they were shady as hell. The headlines always made him look like the biggest chump, the biggest failure. They would always talk bad about him. The only time he got good press is when he bought it, right? So he's always had this adversarial relationship to the press. But when he became, started running for president, he starts this whole fake news thing, fake news. And I warned y'all a decade ago, don't even use that term, fake news. Because what ends up happening is that when they start talking about fake news, they start talking about, who the government gets to decide is not a legitimate news source, right? So if somebody is talking about fake news, then all of a sudden that news source's credibility is challenged and questioned. And then you end up in a situation where the government comes in and determines that because this news source is producing fake news, they need to be removed. They don't get public funding. They don't get to do any of these other things because they've been determined to be fake news. So that's the problem with you even using that phrase or putting it out there into the universe. They could easily designate someone like me as fake news and have me shut down. And I have the right by the First Amendment to come on this machine here and talk to you all the way that I do. I have that right. I live in the United States. I was born here. I'm a United States citizen. I have that right. Yet we have a president and a rogue government. And I'm calling them a rogue government because they are completely wiping their asses with the Constitution. Now, I'm not sitting here as a Black woman defending this Constitution or this nation in any kind of way. So please don't take it that way. But understand that it is the one thing that we can point to right now as we have a crisis of political ideology that is set to harm all of us. It does not get checked. And right now it's going largely unchecked because people are afraid of Donald Trump because Donald Trump has so much on them. If we'd release the goddamn Epstein files, we'd actually be able to make some progress because he loses his hold over people. Then people can go back to speaking freely. You said a teacher at Southern University was suspended for speaking about Kirk as well. HBCUs have been getting threats when we folks didn't have nothing to do with them being up. Of course. You said they still cape. Of course, Black people are going to cape for him. Are you kidding me? There's nothing that Black people love more than whiteness. Nothing. Debate your mom on that. Across the entire world. Collectively, whiteness is the thing that Black people love the most because we have been taught to for centuries. So of course, Black people are going to be there caping for him. And it's not the majority, but it's enough. And they're caping for him because they believe that he's a Christian and they buy into the Christian bullshit because of what? The only reason any Black person in this world is a Christian is because of white people forcing it onto them. Literally burning it into them, beating it into them, sexually assaulting it into them, torturing it into them. That is the only reason any Black person is a Christian right now. Fuck that. Oh, it was in Ethiopia. Shut the fuck up. It came to Ethiopia through an enslaved African who was poisoned by it. You will not argue me on this. So to see these people in their delusional religion, keeping for a white man, a likely descendant of people who possibly own their ancestors, keeping for him, talking about his free speech was being infringed upon because he was a Christian. The fact that Christians anywhere believe that they are oppressed, the only Christians that can really talk about that right now are the ones in the majority Muslim countries who are being tortured and enslaved right now because of their religious beliefs, or the Christian Palestinians who have lost every church that they've possibly had. Nobody else is being oppressed for being Christian. Nobody. Correct. That is why you've not seen any plagues sweep across the continent of Africa unless it was brought by some dirty white person. Okay. They're going to kill me for saying that too. Wash your ass, white people. Use a washcloth. Make sure it's got some exfoliating power. You want to know why white people age the way they do? You don't get rid of the dead skin cells. Get rid of the dead skin cells. Exfoliate and moisturize. And you might also look like I do at age 46. Okay, I'm not trying to be ageist. I'm just saying, you just smooth it out a little bit. Be all right. Now let's get to the right of the people to peaceably assemble. They don't, what they have now said is the only assembly that they'll allow are the violent ones that take over the Capitol and act treasonously. So what I'm hearing from this administration is that you can't organize peaceably, which I just knock it off, y'all. What is a sign gonna do? What is a sign gonna do against a drone that drops a bomb on your entire demonstration? Knock it off. Bring a gun. They got guns. Bring a gun. But anyway, what the administration has said is that we will allow you to assemble violently and rowdy. We'll allow you to take a shit on the Oval Office desk, the Resolute desk. You can go sit at it and fart. You can do that. That's what the government said. It's exactly what the government said. But this last one, and this is the one that always gets left behind, the right to petition the government for a redress of grievances. And this is one that I don't think that racialized and disenfranchised people use enough. That's where reparations come in, right? That's pretty much what the whole reparations movement is actually built upon. This idea that we have the right to petition the government for redress of our grievances. We have a grievance. You stole over $1 trillion worth of labor from our ancestors and we want it back. That is our grievance. And the government needs to respond and needs to happen. But we also have the right to petition, right? And that's where like lawsuits and things like that and, all that come from. You have the right to sue the government. You have the right to say, hey, you messed up. That's where the NAACP comes in. That's what they've been doing their entire existence. Their entire existence is to challenge the government when the government makes laws that restrict the freedoms of colored people, right? That's really what it is. And so reason why I've been talking about this is because, and bringing up this because because I want to just do one more thing. Y'all want to rock with me for another 10, 15 minutes? Give me 10, 15 more minutes because I need to bring in the McCarthyism part, right? People like me are not safe right now, right? As much as I try to separate my professor life in some ways from what I do on this side of things, I am a public scholar. That is what I'm known for. Somebody just told me I lost out on a position because I have too big of a presence, too big of a platform. That's okay, right? I know there's some jealousy there. I know there's some other issues there. I know it's a liability to have somebody who with a big social media platform. I knew I was going to run into those things when I decided to apply for like tenure track positions. That's fine. I'm okay being an adjunct. I need health insurance, but you know, there is some flexibility with being an adjunct, and I still get to teach, right? I still get to reach young minds and to help them. So I can still do that part, right? But I'm not safe. And every day that gets heavier for me, right? Because they're firing professors. A dean lost their job. Professors are losing their jobs. School teachers are losing their jobs simply for exercising their freedom of speech. Now, every single one of them needs to file a lawsuit, and I bet 9 out of 10 of them will win that lawsuit, because you can't do that. You cannot terminate someone for saying, I don't care that Charlie Kirk is dead, or one less Nazi, or whatever. Nope, you can't do that. And the thing is, they know they can't do it. They're trying to curry favor with the president because they know that, one, the president has been sending the National Guard to different cities. By the way, all you people, when he was sending to Washington and threatening to go to Chicago and stuff like that, all you people were like, oh, well, Memphis got more crime. Why they not sending it to Memphis? Oh, because they got a governor who's a Republican. Well, now they're sending them to Memphis. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for comparing Memphis to Baltimore. Memphis, with all these Black people living in Memphis, you all wanted to bring it up and compare it and say, he's not sending it to Memphis because they got a Republican governor. He's only going to Democrat. Well, now he's going after Memphis. Pat yourselves on the back, right? Yes, applause to you. But anyway, you cannot do that. You cannot fire somebody for a social media post about a YouTuber. I could see if it was about Trump and you want to make the case or whatever the situation is. Charlie Kirk is no different than Mr. Bumblebutt down the street. He's not. So if I can sit here and post on Facebook about Mr. Bumblebutt dying and me being like, woo, a relief, and I don't get fired for that, then I should not get fired for saying the same thing about Charlie Kirk. So I hope each and every one of those people sues. Most of them will win, and that's what's up. I've thought about teaching abroad. My issue, again, if I didn't have my son, you guys, like, and of course I love my son, I'm not putting that out into the universe, please. Love my son. But if I was not a mom, I'd have been left in the United States. What? I'd have left the United States like a decade ago. Are you kidding me? Absolutely would not be here. Would not be here. But because of the times that we're in now, especially, and my son going to school 5 hours away, I can't leave the country. I got to be here. I got to be able to hop in my car and get to my kid in 5 hours or less. You understand what I'm saying? They're essentially doing what they claim civil rights did for marginalized folks, giving him extra rights. Absolutely. He is like so DEI right now. He is like being treated like in a very messianic way. And I got to bring it back to the religion, because they are turning him into this like religious martyr. They keep talking about his strong Christian values. He was a good Christian. He was not a good Christian. A good Christian doesn't talk about people like that. The Bible says, thou shalt not bear false witness. Charlie Kirk lied every single day. He believed his lies and he believed in that. But that man lied every single day, because everything that he said that was inaccurate about a particular group of people, he was lying. The Bible says you shall not bear false witness. You want to post up the 10 Commandments in the classrooms, but you're canonizing a man who violated them. Okay? Y'all are making him into an idol. The Bible says you can't have no God but God. You can't put nobody above that. And y'all that's what y'all are doing, right? Okay, but let's get into the McCarthyism real quick. We gotta watch this. It's a short. I'm not gonna have you watch the whole thing, but I'm gonna have you get to a point, because you gotta see this. How many? Put a 1 in the chat if you know what McCarthyism is, or if you learned about it. Actually, better. Did you learn about McCarthyism in school, in K through 12? Put a 1 in the chat if you learned about McCarthyism in K through 12. All right, you got to watch this. Let's watch this real quick.
Mothers who never watched TV during the day were glued to watching the Army McCarthy hearings. The television moment of the Army McCarthy hearings that is lived in memory ever since is the famous moment on June 9th, 1954, when McCarthy decides to violate an agreement that Cohn and Welch had come to before the hearings.
Roy Cohn, although of perfect draft age, had managed to avoid the Korean War and the draft afterwards. It was kind of astonishing. Joe Welch said, fine, I will never bring up your draft status, but we have a problem of our own.
Thank you for telling me I'm muted. God damn it. That's my fault. I will come back to that. Okay. So I said I had to stop because they gave me a strike for showing PBS and stuff like that. So I got to be careful with that. But I was saying, long story short, McCarthyism ended because McCarthy accused the army of being communist. And in this particular moment, they asked him, like, have you no decency? Like, how dare you bring up this lawyer for the army who did happen to be part of a communist group up at Harvard? They're like, you weren't supposed to bring that up. We had an agreement that we will keep silent on that. You can do whatever you want to do with this guy, Roy Cohn, but you can't bring up the fact that this guy that's an army lawyer is a communist. What did McCarthy do? Can you hear me? Can y'all hear me? Let me know if you can hear me. Somebody tell me if you can hear me. Oh, shit. My sound not working? You can hear me now? Okay, cool. Okay. Because I was like, what the hell? I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm going to drop you the link. Hold on real quick. Yep, I'm going to drop you that link. So anyway, that's how McCarthyism stopped. But what McCarthyism was McCarthy starts going and accusing people of communism. He's basically saying, Senator McCarthy saying that we have to root out this evil because it is destroying America, right? This whole communist scare, the USSR, the arms race, Cuba, all this shit, right? Mid-20th century United States was in shambles. What a time to be alive. Like, I talked to my dad all the time. I was like, you was a teenager going through a lot of this shit. Like, what a time to be alive. To me, 1973 is one of the most important years in American history. I would have loved to be alive for that. But anyway, McCarthyism basically had Hollywood shut down. Everybody had, their neighbors were all reporting each other for being communists. Now we see, and the reason I have to bring this up, because we have to see what's happening right now. There's a website that is telling people to report if they see anyone that they follow making negative commentary about Charlie Kirk. That's McCarthyism. That is a vestige of McCarthyism. Report your neighbor, report your coworker, report the person you go to school with, report your family, because communism erodes us. So now Charlie Kirk is the new communism, and Charlie Kirk is now being treated as though he is untouchable. He is a martyr for the United States that is in the middle of this culture war. You can't say anything about him or they're going to punish you. Please read 1984. Please read any of these texts, these dystopian texts that told you how this is going to play out. Parable of the Talents, Make America Great Again. Let's go and look at these things. The answers are right there. They limit our ability to say what we want to say and to exercise our freedom of speech. They restrict our ability to develop and create and publish press that tells the truth. If you look at all the headlines of all the mainstream media, all you see is the glorification of Charlie Kirk and his vile, hateful messaging. He hated women. He hated Black people. He hated Mexicans. He was pro-Jew, which is really fascinating, which is why he got popped. Charlie Kirk was pro-Jew with anti-genocide. That's why I'm like, I don't really know who killed him, because he was against the genocide, but he was pro-Jew. So did AIPAC get him? Or did was it the Nick Fuentes Klan? Because the Klan hates Jewish people too. Somebody on Instagram said that Project 2025 was very transparent about. I mean, yes, I hear you. But Project 2025 is Project 1981. It's the same damn project that the Heritage Foundation has been implementing for the last 40 some odd years. Okay, so we know that. That's why a lot of people are kind of like, Project 2025 got published in April of 2023. We didn't start talking about it till the summer of 2024 because that's about how much influence it actually really has, right? Oh, actually, yeah, no. He very recently, this is why they started coming out against him. Charlie was not, he was like, this is wrong. Hey, see? No, y'all got to pay attention. Even Candace said he started changing his mind. That man spoke out and said, this is wrong. I'm against this. Okay? Took him a long time, but just this summer, he said that. So that's part of the issue. Right? He wasn't aligned with like Ted Cruz and the whole, this is Christian land and we need to make sure we get rid of everybody over there so that the Christians can come back. He wasn't on that. And again, I have to keep reminding you all that they saw him as moderate. Charlie Kirk was considered a moderate conservative. His views weren't extreme enough. Yes, he was calling for the Epstein files to be released. Again, I talked about this last time until he got his throat, he got his neck yanked, his collar pulled, and then he stopped, right? Somebody said on Threads that if it was just a school shooting and not CK, it would be thoughts and prayers. Absolutely. Absolutely. He is a major distraction from the Epstein files thing. And I generally don't talk about the distraction talk, but it's very clear that this is what they're trying to do. Because they didn't like him. Laura Loomer has scrubbed her, her social media to try to get rid of all the negative things that she said about Charlie. Just in July, she was talking about how he is an enemy of Trump. Why would they call him, Charlie Kirk, this person who helped hand Trump the election by galvanizing the young male conservative vote through Turning Point? Why would they then call him an enemy of Trump? Unless he was starting to say things that they didn't like. Free speech. And the irony, and it's damn near gaslighting, of them talking about how he was such a great advocate for free speech, but they won't let people exercise their free speech to talk about him. He's allowed to say disgusting, vile, untrue things about African-American women, about Mexican immigrants, about white women, college-age women, about universities, which is where he makes his bread and butter speaking at, or he made, because he's dead now, but he made his money speaking at colleges and universities like so many of us do, but he wanted to disparage them, right? He was very much a pull the ladder up behind you kind of person, right? Which is probably why he got spiritually, like everything, and it was your time. You were just entirely too selfish. But I'm just saying that, like, we have to think about it that way. And so what I said on Threads, and I just want to share this with you, and I'm gonna go, because I'm really concerned about this McCarthyism type thing that is taking over right now, and we are not safe. Okay. People like me are not safe. I just want to make sure you guys know that I am not looking to take my own life right now. I have perpetual suicidal ideation, but right now I am not at all interested in taking my own life. If anything ever happens to me, roll this back. I am not suicidal right now. I'm not active. I don't have any plans. I do not want to die. I want to live for my son and to see him graduate from college and then see him go on to become a music mogul so he can buy me a bigger house. Okay, understand that. Somebody save this, write it down. Okay, but I want you to look at this too, just real quick before they try to. They're gonna knock me off real quick.
Really clever way of destroying it all. And that is by infiltrating from within and then, like termites, eating away at the foundations of this country for decades and decades and decades. And they did it by grabbing control over the main pillars of American society and life. The government. By the way, Senator Joe McCarthy was right. And he was trying to ring the bell in the 1950s about communist infiltration in our government. And the same deep state that is now going after Donald Trump, the same deep state that removed Richard Nixon, the same deep state that went after Ronald Reagan and anybody else who stood up to them, that deep state became very insidious and in the 1950s smeared and attacked Joe McCarthy for speaking the truth. So they came up with a really...
So this was from last year. Her invoking McCarthy there was important because they started planting the seeds last year. They already knew that they were going to start coming after us with that stuff. And here's what's going to happen. Half the people who are talking big stuff on social media are going to cave to it. There was a really great analogy on social media, and I wish I could credit the person who said it, but I thought it was brilliant. Actually, if I just scroll my timeline a little bit, I will be able to find it because I do like to give people credit. Hold on one second. Give me 2 seconds. I can find it. It ain't that far back. Shout out to everybody who's had to have tough conversations about this. I have not had to have tough conversations about this because I don't hang out with anybody that would mourn Charlie. I just want to be very clear about that. Nobody that I would allow into my home, nobody that I would break bread with, no one I would let see me naked would, ever do anything like that. So anyway, I can't find it right now, but they were saying how for white men, they were talking about that dude, the one that was kind of going at the conservatives and how he was crying, that little young white dude that's so popular, and how he was crying, oh my God, I can't believe that they killed him. He shouldn't have been killed. I didn't like nothing that he had to say. Here we go. I found it. The THE.LLG. Dean Withers. Yes. Let me show you because I want you all to see who this is. I like to give credit. You got to give credit. Got to respect that. Dean Withers, this guy right here, and a lot of the white leftists are crying and calling for a moment of peace because at the end of the day, politics is just a friendly game of pickleball. And Charlie Kirk was one of their favorite bros to play with. It's WWE, it's kayfabe, he thought this was all a bit. He thought these topics were fun, sparring matches, and not discussions that shape people's lives and people's living conditions. So he saw the family man through the beast, even though the fascists openly praised everyone's slaughter. He's crying because Charlie had a family. Oh, damn, that's crazy. And this is what I said. I said, I love this perspective. It's so true from what I've experienced and observed. White men have the privilege of engaging in political debates without having to engage in political action. And they really think it makes them cool. This is why I rarely respond to white men in my replies when they're discussing politics. Show me evidence of you in these streets actually doing real work and not just japping on social media, and then maybe we could talk. I got decades of evidence. And you, sir? And that's important to me. That is important because it's the truth. And this is where I'm going to end all of this. I'm going to wrap this up and I'm going to go make myself some food because I was thinking about this today and I was like near tears. Like, this is how like deep this shit gets to me. My life is on the line. I'm like front line, right? Not just because of what I'm saying, but because of my identity, because I'm unwilling to mask, right? But because of my identity, I know that I'm on the front line. Okay. And I'm upset because these white men get to have these podcasts, these, YouTube streams. They get to go on TikTok or Twitch or wherever they are, and they have their Substacks or their Patreons, and they make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. And the things that they say are surface. They just recycle other people's content. They add no real analysis to anything. They make jokes about things. They're Monday morning quarterbacks, right? Armchair quarterbacks. And they make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to do this by virtue of them being white men. Because we have all across this world been so damn colonized of our brains have been so colonized to automatically believe that the white man is smarter, that he knows what he's talking about, that he can be trusted, that his ice is colder, okay? So many Black people believe the white man's ice is colder. And I'm tired of it, right? And that's not to say like, oh, I don't appreciate you all, because I know a lot of my supporters don't have money. So you can't really even do that. Although on Patreon, you could just give me $1 a month, which comes out to 25 cents a week. That does help me, believe it or not. If I can get 1,000 people to give me $1 a month, that's $1,000 that I could have, right? Awesome. Just putting that out there. Or when I do these kinds of lives, I always have my Cash App up there and my Venmo and things like that. But if you can't, just even subscribing or hitting the like button or sharing it so that other people can watch, so that I can try to get monetized, right? But it's so frustrating. I'm brilliant. My analysis is like unlike anything that you all have seen. That's why you watch me. But because I am a Black woman, because I dare speak up, because I dare have the disposition and the affect that I have, don't forget that I am a professional public speaker, and every single intonation and inflection you all get is by design. I know what I'm doing. I cannot get that same kind of financial support. So these white men can be basic white men. They can start a Substack where all they do is post other people's articles and add maybe 1 or 2 lines. Check this out. We're moving towards fascism. Check this out. You won't believe it. And people subscribe to their Substacks and their Patreons, and they pay for that. These people get hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. And I can't even get like 5,000 Patreon subscribers. I can't even get 3,000. I can't get 5,000 YouTube subscribers. I can't do any of this stuff. And I've been doing this work since I was like 16 years old. I'm 46. So it's frustrating that even though, right, I am giving more information, more education, more support, all these things like that, and I can't even get a fraction of what these mediocre white men get, I will be the first one to be taken down. They're not going to lose their jobs. I will. They're not walking out their house and seeing police cars parked in front of their houses. I am. That happened the other day. I'm the one who has to deal with this. I'm the one who gets doxxed. I'm the one who's had to change her phone number and move because of how the threats from the internet. I'm the one with the defamation suits. I'm the one dealing with all of that stuff. While these motherfuckers sit here comfortably, not saying much of anything. Look at Midas Touch. Ben Meiselas, all he does is just sit there and it's like, play this clip, play this clip. I mean, like, respectfully, I love that they are able to exist and they have built this platform. But the Meiselas brothers don't really do much. And look at how self-sustained they are. 6 million subscribers. For them to do what? Play news clips? Without getting dinged by YouTube? Come on. So it's frustrating. And that's where we are, because they're shaping the narrative, because all these white men who have all these like hundreds of thousands or millions of followers, and they're making all this money, 6-7 figures a year, while they get all of that, I got to sit here and be like, damn, I really need to stream every day so I can just try to get more folks to come. And that's exhausting for me, but maybe that's what I have to do. But I'm telling the truth. I'm actually trying to help people. And it's just frustrating. I'm sorry that I'm ranting, y'all. I probably need to put some food. I'm probably just really hangry right now. I also did go to a wine festival, and then this does contain drugs. So okay, maybe that's it. But it's hard, man. It is hard. But I'm still gonna keep doing it because I love y'all. And I'm an advocate, and I'm a fighter, and I'm gonna continue to tell the truth, and I'm gonna continue to speak up for people who come from places like me, that come from the places that I come from. Don't nobody, you know, that white girl that was homeless to Harvard, she got a whole movie made after her. They don't never talk about that with me. I'm from the gutter. Okay, I've been homeless twice in my life, and I got a PhD. Ain't nobody making no movie about me because of this. Okay, white girl Tory Lanez can write a hit piece that jeopardizes people. You know who catches the most slack? The black women, the racialized women, not the rich white men like Aaron and Brian, who make all this money for nothing. Just go and listen to their thoughts. Listen to their analysis of things. It is surface at best. But because they are white men, everyone has been trained to follow whatever they say for guidance. That's why everybody's running after fucking Gavin Newsom. What a loser he is. Gavin Newsom is the white male Kamala Harris. They're the same person. Y'all think he's going to win? She didn't win. He ain't going to win either. This man physically went down there and tore up homeless people's tents with his bare hands. But he's supposed to be the leader? That man is... He's a white Obama. Like, I'm just... Whatever. My eyeliner was great today, though. I did my makeup myself. Thank you very much. I'm going to go get some food, guys. It is Saturday evening. Let's try to enjoy it. I'm going to probably watch a movie or something. Don't forget to subscribe. If you're new here to the channel, you've never been here before, please subscribe. It would be nice if I could get to like, oh, wait, all right. I don't know why that's doing that. It'd be nice to, how many? I have 3.84 subscribers. It'd be nice if I could get to 4,000 subscribers, 5,000 subscribers. Even if you're not frequently on YouTube, a subscription does not hurt. All you gotta do is hit the subscribe button. You can come back to YouTube in 6 months, but it still helps me by having a subscriber, right? So I appreciate you all. And I will talk with y'all soon. Thank you again, everybody that helped me with the GoFundMe to be able to pay my medical bills from my recent surgery. I'm still eternally grateful. And because I got, a little bit extra, I've been able to redistribute that and help some people out this week. So there were some people that were posting in need of emergency mutual aid. So I was able to take some of that money and give it to people. So I really appreciate you. And you give to me and I give to people. And that's how we're going to keep this thing going. And that's how we're going to support each other. Okay. Check out Katie. Katie's got a GoFundMe to help her mom. She's almost there. I gave early, but I was checking. They're getting closer. But Katie, can you put your GoFundMe in the chat? No, my GoFundMe is down. Because I wasn't going to be greedy. I knew that I could have left it up and I probably could have got another $5,000. But that's not who I am. That's not how I am spiritually. I just needed money to cover the bills. And I ended up with $11,111, and that's an angel number, right? And that means that represents new beginnings. And so I ended it, didn't even notice the number. I just ended it and said, no, I got what I need. I'm not going to be greedy. That's just me. And so it's really like troubling when I see people say such negative things about me, things that I know are not true at all. Things that they just make up to try to disparage me. I'm actually a really good person. I'm a good person. I'm funny. I'm kind. And I can talk about it. Yes, I am. I'm generous or what have you. I believe in paying everything forward. And I believe in honoring where I come from. I come from the gutter. Okay. I don't come. That's why I be on them bushy niggas like, nah, y'all don't know nothing about this. Y'all don't know nothing about this. We fight because we know what fighting is. I fight because I've had to fight my whole life for everything that I have. I've had to fight. And so if I'm ever in a position to help somebody else out, that's what I do. If I can help you out, you struggling because you're in between jobs and you just need $100 to get some food. If I got the $100, I got you. You know what I mean? That's just what we got to do. That's what we got to do. All right. I love you all very, very much. Please go eat. Please go. If you drink, have a drink. If you smoke, have a smoke. Do what you need to do to take care of yourself tonight. Every day it's going to be a journey for us. So if you got somebody to fuck on, go ahead and get your fuck on tonight. I do not. Just do it for me. Get them again. Do it for me. Bye.